Have you ever wondered what makes a great combat system? Why does a game like Hollow Knight or God of War get credits for their great combat system, while a game like Sea of Thieves does not? I'm going to be answering that question in today's video, where I turn my indie game Forgotten's combat from boring and limiting into exciting and unique. If you're into these kind of videos, make sure to take a look around the channel, as I've got more of these videos on game development. But without further ado, let's get started. When creating something new, you have to start at the basics. Almost every single game has a simple melee attack. So how do we make one that feels good and responsive? For starters, I created the attack function, and I actually do this using a coroutine. I chose to do this because it allows me to turn it on using a certain time frame, like triggering it in the animation, so the damage is only being dealt when the sorting is actually at the point where it should damage. This creates a more realistic and responsive attack. Have you ever had the feeling like you could easily kill someone if you could just swing up? Wait, that sounds wrong. No. Anyways, the game needs directional attacks because just standing under an enemy is kind of, awkward. So I'll explain a little bit about how the attack system actually works. So on the character I have these little points. They basically act as like the origins of the attack. Or something. From these points I cast a little circle the size of the attack radius. This little circle basically scans if there are any objects that are damageable. If it finds something that's damageable, it applies a damage, in this case the enemy. So after setting up these basic attacks, something was lacking. You didn't really feel the impact of the hit, so it looks kind of uninteresting. So let's spice this up a little bit. I achieved this using 4 techniques. First, a damage flash. This makes the enemy flash whenever damage is being applied to him. Second, the screen shake. How this works is whenever damage is being applied, it sends a signal to the camera manager. This script then tells the camera to shake in a certain direction, creating this cool effect. Next, I created a slash animation, which just gives the player a little more feedback about the attack and its range. The final thing that I added was particles. This again gives the player more feedback about what's happening on the screen. So since Hollow Knight has the magic stuff, God of War has got the axe, it became clear to me that my game also needed a ranged combat option. So I thought of some creative idea, like a lasso or a shuriken. Then I remembered that my character isn't a cowboy or a ninja, so I landed on a dagger. So then I started drawing, made a little throw animation, and there you go, a ranged combat option. If only it was that simple. How I really achieved this is I instantiate a player projectile in the direction I'm facing. This player projectile has a collider, which can also scan for damageables, much like the attack function. When it detects something, it applies the damage. After getting the basics down, I started thinking how I could make it a little harder or more interesting. Then I remembered that another game, or actually a genre that is renowned for their combat system, is the Souls-likes. The main one I really loved was Sekiro. I think everyone knows where I'm going with this. I decided to make a parry. This was hard. Without going too much into the details, this is how I achieved it. I created a parry window on the enemy, which activates while the enemy is attacking, but just before the damage is actually being inflicted. If the player parries, it scans for this collider, and if it finds a collider, it sends a signal to the enemy that he's been parried, which puts the enemy into the stun state, leaving him vulnerable to damage and multiple attacks. Besides that, I basically applied the same logic to the deflect function, only this works on enemy projectiles. This allows the player to deflect enemy projectiles into the enemy's direction. So I know what you guys are thinking, this combat system is still basic and boring. And I hear it. So this is the part where we add the juice. Without spoiling too much of the game's plot, the main knight has some powers. This allows him to make a dash, but the dash also has some unique effects in combat. The way this works in gameplay is a mix of a parry and a dodge. You have to time your dash perfectly in order to trigger this special dash. If you succeed in doing this, it leaves the enemy stunned, just like in the parry mechanic. What's unique about the dodge is that you dodge behind the enemy, kind of like a teleport. This allows you to perform a critical strike, so the player can make quick work of some enemies. So, using the systems we talked about, I turn my game's combat from uninteresting and boring to unique and responsive. I hope everyone can take something from this and enjoy the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as it helps out a lot. These videos take a lot of work and I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to leave a comment, as it really motivates me to hear from you guys. With that being said, thanks for watching and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!